Hey, picture this. You've just made that final mortgage payment. The check clears, the bank's letter arrives saying you're free and clear, and you sit there staring at the screen, feeling this huge wave of relief wash over you. No more monthly bill, no more interest ticking away. Your house, the place where you've raised kids, hosted barbecues, maybe even cried a little during tough times, is finally, truly yours. You pop open a beer or tea, whatever, toast to yourself, and think, this is it, security, real adulting achieved, and honestly, that feeling is incredible. I get it. I've been there, watching friends post about it on social media like they've won the lottery, debt-free at 45, with the confetti emojis. It looks perfect. But here's the thing. A few years back, I started digging deeper into why some people who chase that mortgage-free life end up feeling stuck later on. Why some folks regret accelerating those payments when the math could have told a different story. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. That security you just unlocked? It might actually be quietly costing you a fortune in lost potential. My name is Finn, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, not just the numbers, but the psychology behind why we make the choices we do, why we cling to certain ideas about smart finances even when they might be holding us back. You know, the stuff that keeps you up at night wondering if you're building wealth the right way or just following the script everyone else is reading from. Today, we're going to unpack what I call the paid-off home trap, this sneaky idea that paying off your house early is always the ultimate win. Spoiler, it's not. It can feel like freedom, but for a lot of people, it's more like putting a massive chunk of your net worth into a really expensive, really illiquid savings account that doesn't pay you dividends. And over time, that can cost you millions in lost gains. Stick with me here. By the end, you'll see why keeping smart leverage on your home, even a low-rate mortgage, might actually be the move that lets your money work harder for you, and why the peace of mind from being debt-free sometimes comes at a price you didn't sign up for. Let's start with the big one, the thing nobody in the debt-free crowd wants to talk about, debt equity. Imagine your house is worth $600. You've paid it off completely. Awesome, right? You got $600 taken equity sitting there. But here's the kicker, that equity is dead. It's not doing anything for you. It's just there, locked in bricks and mortar. You can't spend it without selling the house, moving out, or taking on new debt, like a HELOC or cash-out refi, which comes with fees, closing costs, and maybe higher rates. Meanwhile, if you kept that money invested, say, in a simple index fund tracking the stock market, history shows average returns around 7–10% annually after inflation. Compound that over 20–30 years. It's wild. Let me walk you through a real example. Suppose you have $200,000 extra that you could either throw at your mortgage to pay it off early or invest. Your mortgage rate is, let's say, 4%. Pretty common for folks who refinance during low-rate times. If you pay it off, you earn a guaranteed 4% return by avoiding interest tax-free, which is nice. But what if you invest that $200,000 take instead? At a conservative 7% average annual return, S&P 500 historical after inflation is closer to that. In 20 years, that money grows to about $775,000. You've paid the 4% interest along the way, maybe 8K, 10K a year depending on balance, but the growth far outpaces it. The opportunity cost, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions if you scale it up to a bigger equity pile. It's like burying cash in your backyard instead of planting it in fertile ground. I remember talking to a guy, let's call him Mike, who paid off his house at 50. He was so proud. Then the market boomed, and he realized if he'd kept investing the extra payments, he'd have another $400K squash in his brokerage account. He laughed it off at first, but you could see the regret in his eyes. I thought I was being smart, he said. Turns out I was being safe. Too safe. And that's the emotional hook, isn't it? Safety feels good, but safety can be expensive when inflation is eating away at your purchasing power and markets are compounding. Next up, your primary home isn't really an asset in the cash flow sense, even when paid off. This one's straight from Robert Kiyosaki's playbook in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and while the guy has his controversies, this point lands hard. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Your house. Even mortgage-free, it's still costing you. Property taxes, which go up every year in most places, insurance, homeowners, maybe flood, maintenance, roof, vac, plumbing, those surprise 10K bills, utilities, if you have one, easily 10K, 20K pause a year, depending on where you live. No rental income, no dividends, just outflows. It's a consumption item, a really nice one, sure, but not a wealth generator like a rental property or stocks that spit out cash. Think about it, if you rented out that same house, it'd be an asset, but as your home, it's shelter. Valuable shelter, emotionally priceless, but financially, it's more like a fancy car that depreciates while costing you to keep running. I had a moment a few years ago where I looked at my own paid-off condo, small one, nothing crazy, and realized, this thing is beautiful, but it's not making me richer. It's just existing, and every repair bill felt like a punch. So why do we chase paying it off? Because society tells us, own your home outright is the dream. But the real dream for wealth builders is often keeping low-cost debt and letting your money multiply elsewhere. Speaking of debt, leverage is your friend when it's cheap. If you've got a 3-4% mortgage locked in, many people do from 2020, 21, 41, that's basically free money in today's world. Inflation averages 2-3%, so you're borrowing at negative real rates sometimes. Why pay that off when you can invest the cash at higher returns? It's like having a line of credit from the bank at 3% while your investments earn 8-10%. The spread is profit. Plus, mortgage interest is often tax-deductible if you itemize, though less so post-2017 tax changes. And psychologically, keeping the mortgage forces discipline. You know the payment's coming, so you invest aggressively. But what about risk? Markets crash. What if you can't pay? Fair point. That's why emergency funds matter, why diversification matters. But historically, over long horizons, the market wins. And if things get bad, you can always pay down later, but you can't get back the compounding you missed. Now, let's talk asset protection, the one where paid-off homes can actually make you more vulnerable. This one's counterintuitive. A lot of people think no mortgage, maximum protection, but in lawsuits, car accident, business dispute, whatever, a fully paid-off house with big equity is a juicy target. Creditors love visible, high-value assets. With a mortgage, the lender has first claim. They protect their interest, which indirectly shields you. Some high-net-worth folks even keep small mortgages or use helix equity stripping, legal liens, to make equity hard to reach. Plus, umbrella insurance covers a lot, but having debt layers adds friction for litigants. I know a doctor who kept a tiny mortgage on his paid-off-ish home just for this reason. Judge sees the lion, thinks not worth it, he joked. Not foolproof, but it changes the calculus. Of course, homestead exemptions protect a lot in many states. Texas, Florida, huge shields, but not everywhere and not unlimited. The point, paid off doesn't equal invincible. Sometimes leverage adds a moat. Another angle, liquidity and life flexibility. Life happens. Job loss, health issues, divorce, better opportunities across the country. A paid-off house is great until you need cash fast. Selling takes months, 6% commissions, capital gains taxes if you've lived there forever. Refinancing or HELOC? Possible, but rates might be higher and it's new debt. Keeping mortgage preserves options. You have equity you can tap without selling your life. I digressed a bit there, sorry. Got thinking about my buddy who paid off his house, then got a dream job offer 1,000 miles away, had to sell in a rush, lost on fees, and wished he had liquidity. The emotional side, peace of mind versus wealth building. Look, I don't dismiss the feeling. Being mortgage-free is liberating. No payment hanging over you. More cash flow for travel, kids' college, whatever. For some, especially nearing retirement, fixed income, it's the right call. Stress reduction is worth a lot, but for younger folks or those with time horizon, the math often favors investing. Takeaway, run the numbers. Use a calculator. What if you invested the extra payments at 7-8% vs paying off at 4%? Most tools show investing wins big over 20+ years. Hybrid approach, pay a little extra but invest aggressively too. Bottom line, the trap is assuming paid off best. It's not always. It's a trade-off. Wrapping this up, we've covered debt equity sucking up your capital, your home as a sneaky liability even when free, opportunity cost that compounds into millions, leverage as a wealth accelerator, protection layers, liquidity realities, and the emotional pull. The biggest insight? Financial decisions aren't just math, they're stories we tell ourselves about security, freedom, success. If paying off gives you unbreakable peace, do it. Sleep matters. But if you're chasing real wealth growth, question the dogma. Keep cheap debt, invest the difference, let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. You're not wrong for wanting the paid-off life, but don't let it blind you to what it might cost. Thanks for hanging out this long. If this resonated, drop a comment. Are you mortgage-free and loving it? Or keeping the debt and investing? What's your story? Hit subscribe if you want more real talk on money psychology, no hype, just honest digs into why we do what we do. Until next time, think hard about where your money's really working. Take care.